So, Nisha, what do you think is the spookiest theme?
I think the X-Files theme.
Oh, it fucking is. That scares me. Why would you mention that? No, go away. I hate the
That's
X-Files
the scariest
theme.
one.
It's so spooky, I don't like it. Among the pantheon of horror movie icons, Jason stands as one of the most enduring, and it's not hard to see why. He's a 7-foot-tall, bulletproof man who can knock your head clean off with a single swipe of his meaty manimal paws. He also has one of the best themes of any horror icon, or at least I think so, given that it quotes himself.
So to start with, Jason is a character who doesn't actually talk.
Yeah, he is a completely silent character, so people are probably confused. How does his theme song quote him? Because if people have not seen any Friday the 13th movies, but are only aware of them via pop culture osmosis, like, no, Jason never speaks in any movie he's in, save for things like grunts of pain or exertion, which makes it quite scary because he never seems to show any emotion beyond just like bloodlust.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying because obviously you don't really see his face, just his eyes, so you don't even know, you can't even guess what he's feeling.
If he's even capable of feeling at all, because like halfway through the Friday the 13th franchise, Jason turns into a zombie. So he is literally just a mindless killing machine.
Because I recently watched the 2009 film, and I just thought, because I was like, what is Jason? Is he part human? Is he just monster? Is he like the undead? Because I was like, what does he live on?
In the first movie, he is 100% human. He's just a crazy wild man who lives in the woods. And then he dies and comes back to life, making him a zombie. And then he becomes like a demonic revenant. And then he becomes Uber Jason. I think in the 2009 reboot, he is once again just a crazy man who lives in the woods. And then they abandon that timeline so no one gives a shit. But yeah, either one of those things is scary. I'm scared of both zombies and crazy giant men who chase people with machetes.
I'm scared of most things, so I'm scared of making phone calls, so...
And I had this conversation the other day about a friend of mine who is learning to become a scuba diving instructor, and I realised that I would never, ever be able to do that because one of the things you have to do to become a scuba diving instructor and get the certification to do that combines two of my greatest fears. Which are open water and being trapped. Because one of the things you have to do to become certified as a scuba diving instructor is go down into the water, about 10 or so meters, and then act as if all your equipment has failed, which entails taking all of your equipment off, including your goggles, floating there for a few seconds, and then putting on a fresh set.
Oh no.
Blind.
No thanks.
Yeah. And I was like, no, fuck that. And then like he's shown me pictures of things that he's doing. It's like, oh yeah, here's me, and it's him swimming in the ocean. Do you know, like those underwater ledges?
Yeah.
Where like you just, oh yeah, some seats like 7-8 foot deep, and then there's just like this endless abyss below it, and it's just him floating over it. And I'm like, no, because I'm scared of heights as well. So I'm scared of heights and the water, and it's like you don't think you can't combine both of them, but you can.
So if we're bringing it back to Jason.
Yes.
We mentioned he's a silent character, so how does his theme song quote him?
Well, I'm cheating a little bit here, because in the very first Friday the 13th movie, the killer isn't Jason Voorhees, it's his mother. However, during one scene, you hear Jason's mother say, in Jason's voice, kill her mommy. And even though, admittedly, that line is uttered by Jason's mother, it is generally credited to Jason because she speaks in his voice.
So how does this quote come into his theme song?
Well, that scene in particular in the script really stuck out to long-time series composer Harry Manfredini, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who saw it as one of the creepiest scenes in the entire movie, and he especially liked the visual of somebody speaking with somebody else's voice, and he especially liked the quote, kill her mommy. So what he did when thinking of a way to announce the arrival of the killer is he took that quote and he broke it down into two singular syllables, which were ki and ma. Kill mom. Kill her mommy. And then what he did is he spoke those two syllables as harshly as possible into a microphone, took that audio and ran it through something called an Echoplex Machine, which in addition to sounding 80s as all balls, added this really strange echoey effect to them that you can hear here. And one of the interesting side notes about that sound effect is that a lot of people hear it as ch 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 like that, the ch, but it's actually k k k k ma 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 ma, kill ma. But because of all the reverb and echo and like extra distortion, Manfredini put on it, it's quite difficult to tell, to the point the official Friday the 13th game credits it as like ch. It's like, but that's not the noise.
So yeah, because when I first heard it, I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people do, and Harry Manfredini said that it's kind of annoying, because I know what it is, because it's me saying it, and I definitely said ki, ma. And that's what the noise is. I'm the fucking guy who composed it, and I'm the guy who composed almost every film in the series and used that same musical sting. Because something that Manfredini did that I really like and find quite interesting is he reserved music for times when the killer wasn't on screen, so that the music served as an announcement of their arrival. And he talks about a scene in the first Friday the 13th movie where someone throws like an axe or a dart or something like that that nearly hits somebody, which is a jump scare in the movie, but has no music in the background.
They do the same thing with Michael Myers, don't they?
Yes, like Michael Myers has his own theme song, like composed by the great John Carpenter, like the piano, the twinkling piano thing, like dun 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 dun. And here's a pro tip, Hollywood Studios, you can remix that shit as much as you want, it'll never be as good as the original, just use that. The only time something like that has ever worked for me is in the game Final Fantasy VII Remake, so obviously a remake of Final Fantasy VII, and during like one of the last boss fights, they start playing JENOVA, which is one of the most iconic themes from the first game. And when I was playing that part of the game, I was like, yeah, this is not a bad remix, it's pretty good, it's muted, it's understated, but I kind of miss the old like MIDI file, and I miss like the tune, like the do. I like that, as cheesy as it was, but I guess this is okay. And then when the boss enters its second stage, the fucking music kicks in, they put that bit in, it's like, oh, it's so good!
That's kind of like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, because they remastered all the music, but they also put in the option that you could change it back to the original music.
I love when games do that. And I really appreciate when remakes, sequels, reboots, soft reboots, what have you, use or pay homage to the original theme. Well, is the distinction I've put in when they do it well, because an example of it being done poorly happens in the Transformers movie, the live action one, where throughout that movie you can tell they are trying their absolute damnedest to shy away and hide the fact that it was inspired by this dumb show from the 90s. But I think the last fight of the entire movie, like all of the Zords jump out of a mountain, and for about 3 seconds they play the original Power Rangers riff and then immediately cut it out. Because you can tell they're embarrassed by it. It's like, oh, I'd rather you not put it in. It makes the film shitter that you put it in for 3 seconds. So, do you know when, who was it? Was it Maroon 5 or some shit who played at the Super Bowl after Steve Hillenburg died? And they played like 5 seconds of Sweet Victory to commemorate like the death of the creator of SpongeBob. And they played 5 seconds of it and everyone got pissed off. It's like, I would have rather you didn't play it at all. But anyway, we'll save the rest of that discussion for the end of the video and just talk about how that song has now become so iconic, because that is now Jason's theme. And Manfredini, he scored almost every single Friday the 13th movie, and he kept that same criteria for the song. It's like, it only is played when Jason Voorhees is on screen or approaching the scene to let you know that he is coming. Similar to the Jaws theme, where when you hear that Jaws theme, you know that the shark's coming. You don't know where it is, you don't know when it's going to appear, but the shark is coming.
That's an iconic thing in like old slasher horror films, is they let you know when the villain is around, whereas in horror films now it's more just silence.
With a horrible jump scare that's not scary.
Sometimes they'll do it where it's like a tense build-up, so you're on edge, you think something's going to happen.
Then they put silence.
Yeah, something doesn't happen, so you relax, and then jump scare.
Yeah, the jump scare fake out. Like my least favourite example, like the one I hate the most, is, it's so overdone at this point, is person is washing their face, looks up in the mirror, shuts the mirror because they have like one of those medicine cabinets, person is behind them. But the one that they do now, because that's so cliche, is person's washing their face, they look up, close the mirror, nobody's behind them, they turn around, the camera pans with them, there is now someone in the doorway. It's like, oh, yeah. God damn it! Like, Jason's theme, they kept it. And it stayed essentially the same since its inclusion in that first movie, save for like, a couple of like remixes, and like they sometimes build upon it or use additional sound effects to make it scarier, but they have kept that for every movie featuring the character, which means that in every film in which Jason Voorhees appears, and in fact all of his appearances in other pieces of media, Jason Voorhees is acting as his own hype man, and that's fucking awesome. So far away, Nisha, earlier in this video we had a discussion about sequels, reboots, soft reboots, what have you, reusing like an iconic piece of the score from the original in a good or bad fashion. So let's just talk more about that, because this is something I feel very strongly about. And to jump off, I want to start with a story that I really like. It's similar to the Harry Manfredini thing about only playing Jason's theme when Jason Voorhees is near or on screen, and that is the James Bond theme. Specifically, the James Bond theme sting, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We all know it, right?
Yeah.
And there is a great discussion I saw in a documentary I've never since been able to track down. And it is one of the composers for, I think, Die Another Day. Do you know the Pierce Brosnan one?
Yeah.
Where he's like having the boat chase on the Thames, I think it is. I'm not sure which that, I think that's Die Another Day. And they talk about how you have 2, maybe 3 opportunities to use that da-da-da-da-da-da moment in the film. And there is a huge discussion behind the scenes of when they should play that sting, because when is the most James Bond moment happening on screen? And they talk about how in that film it is when Pierce Brosnan goes under the water and like does his tie. They decide, like, what is the most James Bond moment in this film? It's like, oh, it's when he's underwater and he fastens his tie. So that's when they put the musical sting. It's, oh, so fucking good. I love that they put that much effort into that. So in that vein, Nisha, any good examples of like earlier themes or leitmotifs of things being reused in later pieces of media? Well or poorly, in your opinion?
So I know we mentioned this film a lot.
Okay.
House Train Dragon obviously has some really good music.
Yes.
And they use the same song from the first one in the second film, but
yes, they do.
Add lyrics as well, which I think is really good.
Yeah. I think the title of the piece of music in the first one is Test Drive, and it's from the scene First Flight, where Toothless and Hiccup first fly. They reuse the leitmotif from that in the second one for the very opening scene, when then they add lyrics to it. It's like, oh, that's so fucking good. I love that they've done this. And they show so much respect for that theme, which I think is one of the critical things to not make a moment like that fall completely flat. Because an example of that happening, for me at least, was in Godzilla, King of Monsters. And in that film, they play the original Godzilla theme, the iconic, like, dun 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 dun, like when Godzilla is, like, that is Godzilla's theme, that is his fucking hype song. That song plays when Godzilla's about to fucking wreck some ass. And they use that, I think, 2 or 3 times in that film, and the first time they play it is in a scene where Godzilla loses, because they couldn't help themselves. Because they know that's the iconic theme, that's Godzilla's theme, let's play it when he arrives, but they play it in a scene that he loses, meaning that when they play it later in the movie, again, its impact is completely lost, because I've already heard it, so the moment of hype they wanted from me was wasted on an earlier part of the film that wasn't as good. So when he rocks up at the end of the film, they start playing his theme song again. It's like, well, I've heard it 3 times.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as epic. I think I quite like it with the Saw films as well. They always play the theme song at the end of every one.
Yeah. They do use it a lot, and it is overused, but they at least have the restraint to only use it at the end of the movie when they show you the convoluted explanation for what just happened. So, oh, you an idiot. You didn't see these things that happened off screen. It's like, well, of course I didn't, movie. You didn't tell me that they happened. Fuck you.
There's always like some sort of twist as well.
Yeah,
like,
a twist that like. The thing is though, I can't not watch that and think of like Britain's Got Talent. I think it's Britain's Got Talent or X Factor use a piece of music like that, or I think there was like an act on one of those shows that did that. So I always think of that when I see that, and it's like it loses all its like impact on me.